final one here that is asked last in any college interview setting. I myself would ask this question in every single interview that I had. What questions do you have for me or for us? Now, this is important because you have a voice in this conversation, right? You are fully entitled and indeed expected to have your own questions about the institution you're applying to, the college you're applying to, things like this. And my biggest piece of advice here is always ask a question. I think if you didn't need to know anything else about the school, it would not be true. Two, it would demonstrate and imply that you really didn't take as much time to prepare or really think about the benefit of being able to speak to someone on the inside of this school and ask them about this college that you're applying to, that this alum had the benefit of going to. So the important thing to note is that you should ask at least one question because this ultimately demonstrates interest on your part. Another important piece of advice from me is leverage this fact that you're talking to someone who actually went to the school. You can ask questions about the school that only someone who actually went there would be able to know. You could ask what day-to-day life looks like for a student at the college or university, right? Things like that. Another great thing that really demonstrated emotional maturity and good listening skills that I always really appreciated was if someone I was interviewing asked a question that tied into a response that I had given or a question that I had asked, because it was a sign that they were really listening to what I had to say. They weren't only preoccupied with just responding and talking about themselves. There was a real dialogue going on between the two of us. I think that's fantastic. Come up with some questions that are more than just basic, not what was your favorite part of the school? That's not a bad question at all, but it's pretty surface level. I'm trying to think of some of the best questions anyone ever asked me. Someone once asked me, looking back on your time at the school, what was one way that Yale let you down? That really made me think. Asking questions that make your interviewer think are pretty great because it's a sign that they want to know really specific and important, relevant information. So I think that's fantastic. What was the part of campus that makes you happiest? Things like you can ask about day-to-day life for a student. Now, if you're applying to something like a research position, not necessarily to a college interview, but if you're applying for a research position, you can ask about individual initiative. You could ask, will I have the opportunity to propose project ideas to pursue in addition to helping out with existing research? Things like that. Again, really good questions that engage with this added benefit of really picturing and placing you in the setting that you're applying to, right? Asking questions that only someone who, as a member of this community, would know, or asking questions that really, again, in terms of this fit and matchmaking process, very much align with this portrait of you as being the right person for this school. So yeah, ask intelligent questions. Try to pick up on things that your interviewer says and just be specific. Be very specific. Ask for things that you really want to know. Are you curious about the mental health resources available at this school? Then ask about that. I remember a student who was Black asked me about what types of resources were available for Black students on campus. Very specific things. Someone once asked me how Yale makes its campus safe for its students. Someone once asked me about what were some of the best memories that I had from my time in college. Someone once asked me, if you could do things over again, what was one thing that you'd change about your experience? See, even these questions are all slightly deeper, slightly more nuanced. They're not your basic, what was your favorite thing? Or just what college were you in? What was your favorite class? It goes a little bit deeper than that. And going a little bit deeper than that is fantastic. This is the time where you can ask those questions and get really good answers in response.